Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Geek's 5-Minute News. I'm your host, Mr. Octopi, and today we're going to be going over things such as some Windows 8 tablets, 7970, basically hyper overclocked, some last-minute GTX 680 stuff, some Intel stuff, some RAM stuff, all the things that you could imagine, and hopefully you enjoy the broadcast, and stay tuned. First up, we have a little look at Windows 8 on tablets. Now, I'm sure most of you know, or basically all of you know, about Windows 7. It's the main Windows operating system that's been out there. A lot of people like it. You know, many people are using it. Well, some people are still using XP. A lot of consumers and just everything are using Windows 7. But Windows 8 has been talked about for a little bit. There have been some developer previews, a new consumer preview, and all that kind of cool stuff. But this time, we're going to be talking about Windows 8 on the tablet market, because Windows 8 was built to kind of be ran on tablets a lot better than previous operating systems, rather than having to make a separate operating system for tablets. So Windows 8 is going to be ran by two things, either x86 or ARM processors, and well, x86 should be coming just like a few months earlier than ARM. ARM's going to be coming around early 2013, around that time frame. So you should be able to get Windows 8 on tablets around October. Next up, we have an MSI 7970 card. This is no average 7970 card. It is their Lightning Edition. And while in itself it isn't extremely newsworthy and completely insane, it is pretty cool. But this article makes it insane. What this Swedish guy did was some LN2, which is basically just liquid nitrogen. Yeah, liquid nitrogen. And what he did is he was able to overclock the custom PCB 7970 to a whopping 1800 megahertz on the GPU side. That's completely ridiculous. I mean, the GTX 680 has like 1000 megahertz. The 7970 regular, I think a few of them are at 1000 and a few of them are at 925. I think most of them are at 925. That's just about doubling the GPU clock. So this card, whether it be on AMD side or MSI side or both, is completely ridiculous. I wish I could have one of those in my computer, but truthfully, I don't think I'd even be able to do that, let alone pay for it. Over the past few days, I have been talking about the GTX 680 a decent amount, and that's just because it is pretty close to being released. Apparently, it's going to be released March 22nd, which, from filming today, March 21st, that is tomorrow, which is pretty cool. So I'll definitely be doing a lot of coverage, a lot more coverage over it over the next few days, and just, you know, some reviews coming up and all the specs and all the stuff that's going to be coming out, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, today we have the GTX 680 actually kind of reviewed. It's a pre-review, and while it was on Tom's Hardware site, it was actually taken down from there just because NVIDIA kind of doesn't want people to know about it until it's actually released. Well, they want people to know about it, but they don't want all the specifications, all the reviews, all the benchmarks, all that kind of stuff. But since this is the internet we're talking about here, everybody who ever finds something like this, you know, immediately copies it and puts it up on other websites. So far, we have this website basically just linking you to a few different sites on this actual review. And from the last time I tested it, the site with all the benchmarks and everything is still working and is still up. So it just has a bunch of different benchmarks on the main games, a few synthetic, a few real benchmarks, some power consumption, some heat stuff, everything you could ask for. And it's not by NVIDIA, it's by an actual just individual person not linked with NVIDIA. And they have some cool stuff, you know, it's compared with the 6990, the 590, the 7970, 7950 I believe, and a few 580 I think. Just a few of the bigger cards out there. And it actually fares really well for a $500 card. I definitely want you to check out the benchmarks on this one. And it trades a few blows with it, but overall, it is pretty much a beast of a card, and sometimes beats the 6990 in a few of those actual benchmarks. So check that out. A few specifications in there, but I'm sure it's most of the stuff that you guys already know. AMD or Intel? Well, that's basically like asking Radeon or GTX or NVIDIA or AMD, you know. Mainly the same thing, because there are a lot of people who go on both sides, and there are a lot of people who don't really care and just buy whatever the price performance is better, whichever one has the best performance, you know, all that kind of stuff. In this case, we're going to be talking about Intel and AMD, and according to this article, mainly, I mean, AMD does come out with some great APU processors, and its graphics are actually pretty nice for their processors and all that kind of stuff. So AMD is by no means a bad producer or a bad company or anything. I'm not saying that. But Intel apparently in the high-end desktop and just processor-wise in general is apparently going to dominate AMD unless AMD comes out with something a lot better than Bulldozer. Because with Ivy Bridge, AMD is going to have nothing to counteract that. And whenever AMD comes out with the Bulldozer 22 nanometer, Intel's going to have a second revision of 22 nanometer and Haswell, and it's supposed to completely dominate both on the graphics side because, you know, L4 cache, which I'm not sure I talked about that, but it'll be a cache between CPU and GPU and speed everything up. So mainly for the time being within the next few years, unless AMD comes out with something supreme and awesome, which I hope they do because that'd be pretty cool to have some competition back in the market, then it seems like Intel will be dominating the side of the processors for the time being. While I am really excited for DDR4 because, you know, I want like 32 gigabytes on a single DDR chip and 3D chips and, you know, 4,200 megahertz on a RAM module and 18 billion channel, whatever kind of stuff, even though it's not supposed to have channel. Anyway, this article gives me a reason for me to believe why DDR3 is still really a good option and is still advancing rapidly. So DDR3, mainly the top is supposed to have is 2,133 megahertz. However, with some overclocking and some new manufacturing stuff and some higher voltages and stuff, it's gone higher and higher. And G-Skill is just about to actually put out a 2,666 megahertz module. That's running at cache latency of, I believe, 10 and just, you know, a little bit looser timings and all that kind of stuff, but it's running at 1.65 volts, and along with this insane megahertz and like clock speeds, it was actually overclocked in this article. It says they got it to 2,800 megahertz, which, just saying, wow, it's probably going to be $10 billion and it's going to make you not be able to buy your new, you know, Bugatti Veyron or something because it's so expensive. It is pretty cool. Really fast, showing just how rapidly computers are advancing right now. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed the news, and as always, if you could leave a comment, rating, favorite, whatever, just to help me out, I'd appreciate it very much. And if you do want me to track anything or look anything up in the technology field or anything related, you know, to do with computers or anything like that, let me know, put it in the comment section below, message me, whatever, and I'll definitely look into actually researching it and putting any new news that's involved with it into one of my shows. So again, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and see you tomorrow.